In 1988, Bill Elliott came from 17th starting spot to win this race at Dover Downs. Today, Ken Schrader started out back in 19th position. That's a new record. The farthest a winner has ever come from the starting field to win at Dover Downs. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Folks, the guy you're looking at now is Andy Petrie, crew chief on car number 33, the Skoal Bandit, driven by Harry Gant. Andy is a longtime friend of mine. This is an interview that I'm taking great pleasure in, and I hope Joe Petrie is paying attention back in Hickory, North Carolina, because you told me before I came up here, Joe, to get your boy on TV, and I got him here. Andy, congratulations. You are the Western Auto Mechanic of the race. That's $1,000 in your hip pocket.
Yeah, that comes in real handy right now. I appreciate you thinking of my dad here. I'm sure he's tickled to death. You know, these Western Auto people do a lot for us, and mechanics, and they put a lot of money in it for us, and I can't thank them enough. You know, it's really nice to be recognized, and by a company like Western Auto, I really appreciate it.
You guys have been awfully strong lately. You won at Talladega. You were, third last week at Charlotte, and now you come up third again today. That's awfully strong racing. What's the secret? Things just finally coming together?
Well, you know, I think our engine program's real good. Our cars are really good. We've got against our cars this year, and, you know, and Harry's just doing a great job. The crew's just coming together. I think it's kind of what they call gelling, maybe. You know, we're just kind of gelling together, and everything's just working good.
Well, I certainly, again, want to extend my congratulations to you. It's good to see you doing this. Andy got his start with my brother and another couple of high school guys working when they first started running late model sportsman cars. He's come a long way now. He's got $1,000 in his pocket to spend today. Let's go back up pit road to Steve Evans and Brock Yates.
Well, thank you very much. I'm down here with Brock Yates. And Brock, any more information on Richard Petty? I know everyone at home is concerned.
Well, he's fine. We forget that he banged his knee real hard at Charlotte, and one of the crewmen said, typical Richard. He just kind of wrapped it up and said it's all right. The guy said, should have gone to the doctor.
Right.
But then he reported about halfway through the race that his left arm was going to sleep. So, so Richard got out of the car. He was very, very hot, but he's doing fine, and I know he's certainly one of the greatest figures in this sport ever, and we're delighted that he's okay. But a little sore, and no doubt going to stay sore for a couple of days.
One comment I would like to make. There's been a lot written lately about over-aggressive driving on the Winston Cup Tour. We certainly did not see that here at Dover. We saw Dale Jarrett with his feathers ruffled just a bit, but that's to be expected when you bend up a race car. It was very clean racing today and yesterday in the Busch race.
Well, when these guys run as hard as they do for as long as they do, there's bound to be some banging fenders and some bent metal and some bent tempers, but I absolutely agree. These are marvelous, marvelous drivers, and to run as close as they do, as hard as they do, and not have more incidents is a miracle. It's a testimony to their skills.
I absolutely concur. All right, that's it for Brock and I. Mike, anything to add?
Well, three drivers got their best finish at this track here. Kenny Schrader, who finished second last year, of course, won. Ernie Irvin, career best at Dover, was seventh. He finished fourth. And Hut Strickland, who wound up sixth today. The race leaders, from Mike Waltrip, the pole sitter, Rusty Wallace, the outside pole sitter. Look at Dale Earnhardt, 187 laps out front. Mark Martin led for a good spate there. Harry Gant leading 45 laps. And, of course, Kenny Schrader, who ended up in victory lane, leading 89 laps.
And the most important lap.
Yeah, the last one. I'll tell you what, after Harry Gant's comment, guys, I think there's a bunch of people going to go to the local hardware store, buy a couple of square shingles, and go up on the roof whether it needs it or not.
Yeah, you know, I guess I'm a little sensitive to the idea that people think, you know, once you pass 45, that you're just a dead issue. But all they have to do is look at Harry Gant after that race. He looked like he just walked out of the shower. He looked as fresh as when the race started. And they keep saying the 51-year-old Harry. Well, let me tell you, he's 23 and holding.
You bet. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, again, with car owner Richard Childress, the owner of Dale Earnhardt's Goodwrench Chevrolet. Richard, a long, tough day, but one question we got to ask you. The Chevrolets were pretty dominant today. You think this puts an end to that controversy about the rear deck lid on the Fords?
I can't hear you. Well, first I'd like to congratulate Ken Schrader and the whole Hendricks team. They done a super job all day long, and, you know, we gave them our best. As far as any controversy, you know, NASCAR stands for National Association of Stock Car Racing, and I think if they'll run stock cars, we'll be in business.
Well, you guys had a long, tough day at the office there. It had to be a little bit gratifying anyway, even with the second place finish, to get that far behind with the cut tire and then come back and finish up in second spot.
Yeah, you know, the track kept changing and we kept chasing it, and, you know, we never hit the right combination, and Kenny and them did at the end of the race and won it.
It seemed to me that at various times the cars would come to the racetrack and then go away. What was the problem there?
Well, I think, you know, everyone was kind of chasing you know, their setup on the car with, you know, when the sun came out, you'd get a little loose. You know, when it go in, you'd get a little tight. And adjusting your tires and everything to the racetrack conditions. Whoever hit it right was gone for the day.
Well, as quick as you were early on, is there ever a tendency, and I doubt if there is with your team, but do you think there's ever a tendency for you to get a little complacent and say, well, we got it now, or do you have to keep fighting it all day?
No, each time we'd see somebody come up there and start to beat us, we'd try to make some adjustments. We kept getting the car a little faster all day. At the end of the race, even we were running in the 25, 70s and 80s, and just wasn't quite enough.
Well, your driver is known as the Intimidator, and it's probably his style, and I'm sure you guys back him up in the pit. So you try to punish everybody as much as you can at the first of the race to build as big a lead as possible?
Well, we was just going, trying to get all the lead we could. And, if it hadn't been so many cautions there, we'd have been in pretty good shape. But we needed one to get our lap back.
Well, we'll look for you at Sears Point next week.
Thank you.
Bill Parsons, final thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you, unlike our first race we did at Rockingham, where Kyle Petty totally dominated the field, we had several different drivers throughout the day that looked like they had the best car. Harry Gant at one time obviously looked like he had the best car. Dale Earnhardt certainly did. Mark Martin did. And Ken Schrader did when it counted to the end. So it was a very competitive race and a fun race to watch.
Buddy Baker, delighted to have you with us and share your expertise about this. It was quite a show.
I enjoyed it very much, and I tell you, you guys have a tremendous program here. TNN #1.
So Kenny Schrader is in victory lane, second on our last telecast up at Rockingham, North Carolina. And the TNN Motorsports crew, like that stack of tires, will roll on, bringing you Busch Grand National racing from around the country all season long. Motorsports Magazine twice every week. Of course, Ned Jarrett Show inside Winston Cup racing. And we'll be back here in September at the Monster Mile as TNN's live exclusive coverage of Winston Cup racing continues. TNN Motorsports coverage of the Budweiser 500 from Dover Downs has been brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By new Haviland Formula 3 motor oil. Add more life to your car.